Good morning, my dear students. Welcome to another session of our video lesson presentation. Again, I am Sir Lucky and I will be your online video lesson presenter. So last week we had our discussion on context clues. Now again, what do you mean by context clues? These are hints or clues that are found within a sentence, paragraph, or passage that a reader can use to understand the meanings of new or unfamiliar words. Now basically, context clues have four major types. So number one, we have synonyms or restatement clues. Number two, definitions or statement clues. Number three, antonyms, opposites, or contrast. And number four, examples or explanations. Now for this particular week, we are going to have stress and order of adjectives. Now, the main focus of our discussion for this week will be more on stress, and hopefully, if we still have time, we can discuss the order of adjectives. Okay, so let's now have the second slide. Let's now have our discussion on stress. Now, basically, what exactly do you mean by stress? Okay, now stress can be defined in two different ways. Number one, it may have something to do with your feelings or emotions, and number two, it may have something to do with word analysis. Okay, so let's have the first one. Stress as having to do with your feelings or emotions. Okay, now, given that you are in a new situation and then you are not able to adapt to it or you're not able to adjust to it right away, most definitely this new experience will give you a dose of stressful feelings or emotions. Just like in our setup, okay, in this new mode of learning or modality of learning, which is an online class, if you are not able to adapt to this new mode of learning, then most definitely it will cause you a lot of stress. Okay, so that is for the first definition. Again, when we say stress, it has something to do with your feelings or emotions or your inability to adjust or be adapted to a new given situation. Okay. Now, number two, when we say stress, it has something to do with word analysis. So when we say word analysis, it may have something to do with on how you pronounce words, on how you enunciate words, or how you sound words off. Okay. So again, let us consider the definition which is on your screen. Okay, let's read on. So when we say stress, it is the verbal emphasis used in one syllable in a given word. Okay, so I think the most basic example of this is that when at the time when we were still in elementary and we would greet our teachers, good morning. Unlike now, since we're matured, okay, so we would rather greet good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day. But in elementary, okay, pupils or kids or young kids would rather say good morning. Again, they would rather say good morning rather than good morning. So it's like there is a certain pattern that they follow. Okay. Now, in that particular pattern, okay, morning, there are three very obvious elements, okay, that are involved that have something to do with stress. Number one is the tone. Okay, number two is the duration, and number three is the emphasis. Okay, so again, those three elements, we have the tone, the duration, and the emphasis. All three elements have something to do with stress. Okay, and the best example of stress when applied to word analysis is by the way a young kid in the elementary level would greet his or her teacher, good morning. Okay, so again, let's have a recall. When we say stress, again, there are two possible definitions. Okay, in general, there are two major definitions of stress. Number one is it has something to do with your feelings or emotions or your inability to adjust to a given situation, especially when the experience is something new. You're not able to adapt to it, so it will cause you a lot of stress. So that's number one. And then number two, when we say stress, it has something to do with word analysis. Okay, so word analysis, which has something to do with enunciation, okay, or pronunciation, and then it also involves the elements of speech such as tone, and then we also have duration, and then finally we have emphasis. Okay, so at this point, of course, we're going to focus our discussion on the second definition, which has something to do with word analysis. Because again, for the last time, when we say stress, okay, so please look onto your monitor if you're using your laptop or onto your screen if you're using your cell phone. When we say stress, stress is the verbal emphasis used in one syllable in a word. Okay. Now, there are so many topics that may be related with stress, okay? So we have synonyms, antonyms, and also homonyms, okay? But the closest I would say is the heteronym, okay? Now, I'm sure that way back in elementary or even way back in your experience last year when you were in grade 7, synonyms, antonyms, and homonyms have already been discussed, okay? Or if not totally discussed, at least you touched on it, okay? Now, when we say synonyms, of course, we are referring to words with similar or almost the same meanings, or these words have something in common. Now, when we say antonyms, okay, so these are words having opposite meanings. So the key word or the most important word for the definition of antonyms is that they have opposite meanings. Now, when we say homonyms, on the other hand, homo meaning one, and then these are words having one sound rather, so that is homonyms, okay? So the closest I would say is heteronyms. Now, when we say heteronyms, again, these are words with the same spelling, but they are different in terms of sounds, and of course, they're also different in terms of meanings. Okay, now how is heteronyms different from homonyms? When we say homonyms, homonyms are words having the same sound, okay, but they have different spellings and different meanings. So examples of which are, so we have waste and waste. Okay, so what are the two ways by which we can actually spell out the word waste? Okay, so number one is W-A-I-S-T, which is referring to your mid area, okay, so waistline, and then the other spelling is waste as in trash, so that is W-A-S-T-E. So again, when we say homonyms, these are words with same sound, but they have different spellings and of course different meanings. So again, one example is waste and waste. Now number two, we also have wait and wait. Okay, so what are the two spellings of those words? So we have wait as in wait a while or wait for a while, so that is W-A-I-T, and then wait as in it has something to do with volume or mass. Okay, so those are the two spellings and the two meanings of wait, okay, which is another example of homonyms. Again, homonyms are words with the same sound, okay, but they have different spellings and meanings. And then the third one, okay, last example so that we can move forward is week. So when we say week, there are two different spellings having only one sound. So one spelling of week is W-E-E-K, okay, which is there are 7 days in a week. And then number two is W-E-A-K, which is the feeling of, it's like you are lacking energy to do something. So you're feeling weak. Okay, it's like you're lacking power or lacking energy. So that's the other meaning of weak. Now, if you would notice, based on the examples given, so we have pairs of words with the same sound, okay, but they have different spellings and of course different meanings. Again, those are what we call homonyms. On the other hand, when we say heteronyms, these are words with the same spelling, but they have different sounds and of course they also have different meanings. Now, what are the examples that we can give for that? Number one is live and live, okay? Now, if you're going to spell that word out, that is L-I-V-E. So both words are spelled as L-I-V-E. But if you're going to sound it off, if you're going to enunciate the word, okay, it takes on two different sounds. Again, one is live and then the other is live, okay? Now, for example, when I say I want to live, so that is L-I-V-E. And then this online class, the one that we're having right now at the moment, so this is something live, okay? So we're doing this live, okay? Meaning right now or at the moment. Okay, so again, live and live take on different sounds, but they have the same spelling. Okay, now another example that we can give for that is minute and mind you. So minute, that is something very obvious and simple. We all know that minute is it has something to do with measurement of time. Okay, so there are 60 seconds in 1 minute, okay? So that is minute, M-I-N-U-T-E. Now, on the other hand, another sound for that word is mind you, Okay, so when we say mind you, it may mean very small, very insignificant, or something unimportant or totally nonsense. So those are the two meanings of the word minute or mind you. Okay, it takes on the same spelling, but again, they have different sounds, and of course, they also take on different meanings. And then the last one is the one that I mentioned earlier. Okay, when I gave minute as our example. So there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. So seconds, because again, we're talking about measurement of time. Okay. Now when we say second, okay, so if that is a sound, then we're talking about rankings. So we have first, second, and third. Again, when we talk about rankings, the sound must be first, second, and third. But if we're talking about measurement of time, so that is sounded as second, okay, or seconds, okay. So again, so we have the words live and live, and then for the second pair, we have minute and mind you, and then the last pair is second and second, okay. So those are our examples for heteronyms. Again, heteronyms are words with the same spelling, but they have different sounds, and of course, they also have different meanings. So those are the topics that may be related to stress. Okay, again, in terms of word analysis, we have synonyms or words having the same or almost the same, that is, meanings or similar meanings, or they have something in common. Then we also have antonyms or words with opposite meanings. And then number three, we have homonyms or words with the same sound, but they have different, sorry, they have the same spelling, but they take on different sounds and meanings. And the number four is heteronyms. Okay, now when we say heteronyms, they are words with the same spelling, but they take on different sounds and meanings. Okay, now in order to simplify this topic, okay, so let's have the two basic suggestions or tips. Okay, now number one, okay, you have to read it the elementary way, and we also have to apply the following. So number one, we have to read the word slowly. Now, if we're going to read the word slowly, then it is used as a noun. Okay, now being a noun, it is stressed always on the first syllable. So take note of that. Again, the first step that you have to do is to read it the elementary way, and then you need to apply the following rules. Number one, so the first tip is you have to read it slowly. Once you read it slowly, then it is used as a noun, okay? And being a noun, it is stressed on the first syllable. Now, on the other hand, when we say you have to read it the elementary way, and the reading is quite fast, okay? Naturally, it is fast, okay? Or um, you read it like very maturely, okay, then the word is used as a verb or as an action word. Now, again, when we say verb, it is an action word, okay? Now, if the word is used as a verb, then it is always stressed on the second syllable, okay? Again, so to sum it all up, okay, so if you're going to read a word slowly, then that word is used as a noun, and it is always stressed on the first syllable. Now, if you're going to read a word fast, naturally, then that word is used as a verb or as an action word, and it is always stressed on the second syllable. Okay, so that is for the tips or suggestions that we can give in order to simplify on how we are going to apply the correct enunciation of words given that the word makes use or consists only of two syllables. Okay, so that is for our discussion of stress. And then later on, we're going to give some more pairs, and then let's have a drill. Okay, let's have an exercise. So we are going to read on pairs of words, and then let us try to differentiate um, how a word is used as a noun and how it is used as a verb. Okay, so we're going to apply here proper reading or proper enunciation of words in order to analyze the given examples. Okay, so let's now have the next slide. Okay, so we have here some pairs of words, and then all we have to do is just read and analyze the following. Okay, and then based on our reading, let us identify if the word is used as a noun if we're going to read it slowly, or if it is used as a verb if we're going to read it fast. And then on the next slide, we are going to analyze sentences, okay, and then identify if it is sounded as address or address. Okay, so that is for number one. Again, repeat after me. Number one is address or address. Okay, for the last time, it is address or address. Okay, number two, repeat after me. So that is conduct, conduct. Again, that is conduct, conduct. Okay, number three, object, object. Again, object, object. Number four, protest, protest. Protest, protest. Number five, contest, contest. Contest, contest. Number six, present, present. Present, present. Okay, I hope you got that one. Okay, number seven, research, research. Research, research. Okay, number eight, record, record. Record, record. Okay, number nine, progress, progress. Progress, progress. Number 10, project, project. Project, project. Okay, let's now have the other half. Number 11, convert, convert. Convert, convert. Okay, number 12, comment, comment. Comment, comment. Number 13, resume, resume. Resume, resume. Number 14, contract, contract. Contract, contract. Number 15, convict, convict. Convict, convict. Number 16, desert, desert. Desert, desert. Number 17, perfect, perfect. Perfect, perfect. Number 18, permit, permit. Permit, permit. Number 19, produce, produce. Produce, produce. And for the last pair, we have replay, replay. Replay and replay. Okay, so again, for the last time, number one, address, address. Number two, conduct, conduct. Number three, object, object. Number four, protest, protest. Contest, contest. Present, present. Research, research. Record, record. Progress, progress. Project, project. Number 11, convert, convert. Comment, comment. Resume, resume. Contract, contract. Convict, convict. Desert, desert. Perfect, perfect. Permit, permit. Produce, produce. Replay, replay. So those are our pairs of words. And then on the next slide, let us identify if the words are sounded as fast or slow, if it is used as a noun or as a verb, or if it is stressed on the first or second syllable. So let's now have our next slide. Okay, so at this point, we now have a drill, okay, so that we can now apply everything that we have learned about stress. Okay, now for the instructions, where do you stress the following highlighted words? Is it on the first or second syllable? Now, how do you read each word? Is it fast or slow? And how are the words used in each sentence? Is it used as a noun or as a verb? Okay, so I'm going to read the sentences twice, and then you apply the following, okay, based on the instructions. Number one, President Duterte would like to address all the problems in the country one at a time, starting off with the current pandemic crisis that is presently affecting so badly our national economy. Again, number one, President Duterte would like to address all the problems in the country one at a time, starting off with the current pandemic crisis that is presently affecting so badly our national economy. So for each item, you're going to have three answers, okay? Will it be on the first or second syllable? So that's the first answer. And then second one will be, how do you read the words? Is it fast or slow? And then finally, okay, analyze if the word is used either as a noun or as a verb. Okay, so for number one, that is address. Okay, address. So therefore, that is, where do you put the stress mark? Very good. That is on the second syllable. Why? Because it is used as a verb. And if the word is used as a verb, then you have to read it fast. Okay, again, let's have a rerun of your answers to number one. Again, the word is read as address. Okay, so address is read fast. Okay, that's number one. And then it is used as a verb or as an action word. So most definitely, you put the stress mark on the second syllable. Okay, so get your pen and notebook. I'm going to read the sentences starting off with number two onwards, and then identify if it is first or second syllable, fast or slow reading, and then use as a noun or as a verb. Number two. Okay, are you ready? So let's start. As a classroom advisor, it is my duty to know the profiles of my students. In conducting home visitations, I must know their exact address in order not to get lost when I pay them a visit. Again, as a classroom advisor, it is my duty to know the profiles of my students. In conducting home visitations, I must know their exact address in order not to get lost when I pay them a visit. Okay, so please write your answers. Okay, so let's now have the next slide. Let's now have the third item. Again, I'm going to read the sentences twice, okay? Listen carefully. Number three, the Social Weather Station, or SWS, will conduct a survey on the national approval ratings of the President in addressing the present problem on the pandemic crisis. Again, the Social Weather Station, or SWS, will conduct a survey on the national approval ratings of the President in addressing the present problem on the pandemic crisis. I'm just giving enough time to answer that item, okay? Number four, as a national government official, the president must always observe proper conduct, especially in dealing with his critics and the oppositions. Again, number four, as a national government official, the president must always observe proper conduct, especially in dealing with his critics and the oppositions. Number five, since we Filipinos live in a democracy, those who are dissatisfied with the president's decisions can always object freely and express themselves. Again, number five, since we Filipinos live in a democracy, those who are dissatisfied with the president's decisions can always object freely and express themselves. And the last item for this slide, number six, an unidentified flying object, or UFO, was seen on the vast Wilkins in the province of Bulacan last Saturday high noon. Again, an unidentified flying object, or UFO, was seen on the vast Wilkins in the province of Bulacan last Sunday high noon. So let's now have number 7 on the next slide. Okay, let's now have number 7. The protest outside the Malacanang Palace has already drawn international attention from various press across the globe. Again, the protest outside the Malacanang Palace has already drawn international attention from various press across the globe. Number 8. The Social Amelioration Program, or SAP recipients, protest against the delay in their benefits from the national government. Again, the Social Amelioration Program, or SAP recipients, protest against the delay in their benefits from the national government. Number 9. The Tawag ng Tanghalan segment in its showtime is a singing contest that aims to champion world-class Filipino talents. Again, Number 9, the Tawag ng Tanghalan segment in its showtime is a singing contest that aims to champion world-class Filipino talents. And finally, number 10, the losing contender in the daily round will contest on the judges' final decision, claiming their judgment was rather biased and lopsided. Again, for the last time, the losing contender in the daily round will contest on the judges' final decision, claiming their judgment was rather biased and lopsided. Okay, so 10 items, answers only in your notebook, and then afterwards, we are going to check your answers. Okay, so on this part of the slide, we have item numbers 11 to 14, the answers of which you're going to put in your notebook. Okay, again, for the instruction, you're going to identify if you're going to read it fast or slow. That's number 1. And then you're going to identify if the word is used either as a noun or as a verb. And then finally, be able to identify where to put the stress mark. Will it be on the first or second syllable? Again, that is for numbers 11 to 20, okay? But then for this particular slide, we have numbers 11, 12, 13, and 14. So let's now have the next slide, okay, for the last set of sentences. Okay, finally, we have item numbers 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Again, all you have to do is just write down your answers in your notebook and then follow the instructions. So how are you going to read the following words? Is it fast or slow? And then where do you put the stress mark? Will it be on the first or second syllable? And then finally, number 3, you are going to identify on how you make use of the following highlighted words or the words written in red. Is it used as a noun or as a verb? And then afterwards, we are going to check on your answers, okay? So let's now have your assignment. So let's keep our assignment straight and simple. So all you have to do is just study the following order of adjectives. So please be guided by the following sequence. So we have article or pronoun. Number 2, ordinal. Then we have cardinal, intensifier, quality, size, shape, age, color, participle, proper adjective, noun adjective, and head noun. And then we also have there the example, okay? So please study the following, okay? Because that will be our topic for our next session, okay? So we have an additional activity on our next slide, okay? So please check it out. Okay, so in this particular activity, all you have to do is just rearrange the following adjectives in order to come up with a logical order. Okay, so number 1, we have the choices. Expensive, Dubai, golden, my most first heart-shaped pendant was gifted to me by my mother on my graduation day. Number 2, the choices are very, the, long, Indian, interesting, old, epic is still extant up to this date. And then number 3, your choices are pink, small, rare, very Cuban, oval, A, pearl was auctioned in Liverpool, England. Okay, so let's check if your answers are correct. So let's have the answer key on the next slide. Okay, so the answers are for number 1, my first most expensive heart-shaped golden Dubai pendant was gifted to me by my mother on my graduation day. Okay, so that's the answer for number 1. Number 2, the very interesting long old Indian epic is still extant up to this date. So that's number 2. And finally, number 3, a very rare small oval pink Cuban pearl was auctioned in Liverpool, England. Okay, so that is 3 out of 3. Now, I hope that you got it all correctly. I'll see you all in our next meeting. Okay, again, this is Sir Lucky bidding you good day, God bless, and I love you so much. See you.